Federal Credit Union, your financial partner for every stage of life. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, RKW, with our good friend Brent Hubbs of VolQuest's at On 3, previewing Tennessee and Arkansas. Brent, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing outstanding. I hope you guys are great on a Friday morning.
Yes, sir.
Thanks,
Yes,
Brent.
we are, Brent.
Oh, Ramon, what is this, 3 in a row?
Record
You're on a
breaking.
streak, baby.
They call it
Break up the band. We got a streak going.
They call it a turkey in both.
Turkey and bowling for showing up on Fridays. Unbelievable.
It is almost
Actually
Thanksgiving.
doing my job out here, Hubs.
I love it.
I'll be honest, hanging with the dude that's from Franklin, okay, this past Monday night, I had a Mike from Franklin. I was tired, but I said, as long as I can make it to Friday and be with my dog, Brent Hubbs, and I'm good to go, okay? So
At some point, don't you look at him and go, man, can you just relax a little? Like, just for a minute?
no.
Just for a minute.
I'm telling you.
Just for a minute, please.
He is a hoot on those trips in a professional way, though, okay? I just leave it like that. He's
Relentless.
That's right.
Yes,
There you
he
go.
is.
I love it. Brent, it's an interesting week for Tennessee because I feel like a lot of people that support the Vols have their battered Vol syndrome, their BVS flaring up just a little bit. This is a tricky game, Brent, and a 2-touchdown favorite, yes, but a difficult road environment. What is Arkansas's pathway in your mind to making this game interesting and challenging this Tennessee team?
I think they've got to run the football effectively, which nobody's been able to do against Tennessee, but they've got to have some balance. You look at them statistically in wins that they're running it twice as much as they're throwing it. That they've got to be effective running the football, and then they've got to be great in red zone defense. You know, Tennessee's got to finish drives. That's just, you know, Oklahoma offense had 3 possessions inside the 20. They only scored 1 touchdown out of it. You know, they get that first big play to Brew. They end up with 1st and goal at the 9. They get nowhere and have to kick a field goal. Tennessee's got to finish drives in the end zone. Arkansas wants to limit them to field goals, run the football, try to shorten the game a little bit, get a turnover here or there, and that's how Arkansas is in the game. So Tennessee's got to go take care of Tennessee, and they've got to play well in this one. Because if you let that place get going, it is sneaky loud. It can be, I mean, louder than Oklahoma. And we talked for 2 weeks, it felt like, about the crowd noise at Oklahoma. You got to get some doubt creeping into Arkansas early and get that thing to where it becomes pretty quiet. And it will become quiet if you can get out of the gates. But the longer you let them hang around, the louder that place is going to get.
Brent, how much healthier is Tennessee now out of the bye week? We've talked a lot about Lance Hurd and John Campbell. How many bumps and bruises does Tennessee feel better about now going into this matchup?
Oh, I think a lot. And obviously it starts with Lance Hurd. I mean, Hurd went from out to not even on the injury report. He's practiced all week long. It's a big deal for Tennessee to get him back. He had 13 knockdown blocks against NC State, played well. They're different when he's not on the field. John Campbell, you hope, can go longer, but I think you understand that, you know, you're probably going to end up platooning some with him and playing 2 guys, which is not the end of the world. They did that in 22 opposite Darnell Wright. What you don't want to do is you don't want to be platooning both sides, because then you got to give help to both sides, and now you got schematic things offensively that can cause you a lot of problems. If you need to give help to one side, that's certainly doable. So getting Hurd back is big. Boot Carter's back. Obviously, he got banged up in the Oklahoma game. Never a worry there that he would be back. But the open date came at a good time. You go through a month grind of fall camp, and then you get 4 games under your belt. It's a good time to heal some bumps and bruises, reset. Some young guys to catch their breath who are playing football to, you know, make sure that, you know, it's not just about game planning that week. You're getting all the concepts down. I think it was a huge week for Mike Matthews. I want to see what his role is with this offense this week and moving forward, because, you know, he missed most of fall camp with a hamstring. He goes out, he plays in the last couple of games here, and then, you know, you get a week off to kind of, all right, let's review what you've done. Let's self-scout you. Let's figure out areas you need to improve. So I think for some of those young guys, it was big to get that as much as it was to heal up some bumps and bruises.
Brent Hubbs of VolQuest's and On 3 with us this morning. Hubbs, there's some familiarity in this game right here, and I kind of want to start with the two dudes that left and became starters at Arkansas, and that's Addison Nichols and Deno Slaughter. Man, what have they meant for them? And if you've been watching, what has their play been like for them in Arkansas?
Well, I mean, Addison Nichols has stepped right in and been the starting center at Arkansas, and that was a job you wanted him to win at Tennessee, and he didn't. And I think that was just a personality situation there. I don't think he and Glenn Ellerby, that for whatever reason, it didn't work. I don't think they dislike each other or they, quote, hate each other or anything like that, but that relationship didn't work. So he has stepped in and been their center. He's done some good things. I think he's had some growing pains because this is his first year playing. He knows exactly what he's getting himself into on Saturday night because he's gone against all those dudes that he's going to go against Saturday night that are still at Tennessee. Omar Norman Lotts and the Omari Thomases and Bryson Eason and all those guys in the middle. And I'm sure Tennessee's going to try to come at him. They know his tendencies. They know some things that he struggled with when he was at Tennessee, and Tennessee's going to come at him pretty hard. Deno Slaughter is a starter at corner for Arkansas. Struggled at the end of the Oklahoma State game. Had a couple of mistakes in the A&M game, but I mean, they're corners. You're going to make mistakes, and he's been. They went and got him to be a starter, and Tennessee, I don't know that they tried to keep him, but it wasn't near to the level that he wanted. And, it'll be interesting there because he does know Tennessee's offense. Does that help him understand some of the conceptual things that Tennessee's trying to do to the secondary? Is there any kind of advantage there to him knowing it? I think Tennessee will try to pick on him early, knowing his tendencies. What can they get him on? And see if they can make a play or two there. But once you get started and settle in, I'm saying this is the world of football, right? I mean, you see it in the NFL every year. Some guys playing for the team the next year that's the rival team, type deal. I mean, it's unusual still in college football, but it's quickly becoming the norm. And once you start playing, it's just their number versus your number, and go see what happens.
So, Hubbs, we've had a conversation as of late about, the progress of quarterbacks, even in the NFL. What do you allow them to do? I feel like nowadays starting quarterback's going to get you 200, 250 yards. If you can get 3 touchdowns out of them, awesome. You're not seeing a whole lot of what Kirk Cousins did last night, 500 yards, 4 touchdowns. At what point does Heupel have in the plans for Nico Iamaleava to open it up a little bit more? Because they've won big, but he hasn't been what some would expect, like 500, 600 yards a game type of dude yet.
Well, I mean, I don't know that you're going to see 500 or 600 yards a game.
I'll be honest. I like to.
I think the school record's like 503 and 96
Ooh.
And a 35-28 loss at home to Florida in a day where Tennessee fell behind 35-0, and they literally didn't run the football the rest of the day. So I wouldn't. If you're looking for 500-yard passing days, then, man, you're going to get tired of waiting on that one because I don't think that's coming. But to your point, I think that there's certainly more there than, 220 or 230 yards a game. But to do that, you got to keep Nico upright.
Okay.
I mean, you take that. Let's exclude Kent State and Chattanooga, right, where he played a half. He could have thrown for 600 in those games, right? So let's go to the Power 4 opponents that he's played. They play NC State. Tennessee basically had 2 game plans going into that. One was the 2 tight end stuff. All right, we'll run 2 tight ends, and at some point NC State's going to say, we're going to stop the run. We'll get out of that, and we'll give you some man coverage and less drop 8 zone coverage. NC State made a decision, we're not going to change. We're going to stay true to who we are. We're going to drop 8 in our game plan. We're not adjusting, and if you want to run it all day, then we'll see if you're patient enough to run it all day. And Tennessee was. That's why Nico didn't put up big numbers there. Tennessee fully thought they would get out of that look, NC State would, and it would open up more shot opportunities and vertical opportunities for Tennessee. That didn't happen. I mean, it was a test of patience for Joey Halsley and Josh Heupel to keep doing what they were doing at 8, 10-yard chunks running the football because they wanted to throw it. Then you go to Oklahoma, and I think we saw the early play to Brew. You saw the touchdown to Dante Thornton. If Tennessee could have protected they could have thrown for more yards. But because they couldn't protect with the injuries at the tackle situation, Tennessee chucked it down and started running the football and just got home and got out of there, which, by the way, Auburn should have learned to do a week ago at Auburn, which they didn't. So I think part of it is dictated by what the defense is going to give you and then what you're capable of doing. That's why getting Lance Hurd back is a big deal this week. And we'll see what kind of looks they get. Are they going to get a lot of man coverage? Are they going to get zone coverage? I mean, Nico's play-action pass numbers are they're significantly better than his non-play-action pass numbers. Okay, if they can get the run game going, they can get safeties creeping forward, they can get linebackers, everybody's creeping towards the line of scrimmage and their eyes are on the run game, Tennessee can work the middle of the football field and play action with great success if they can protect. That's what they would have done against Oklahoma, but they couldn't protect well enough.
Brent, 1996, Peyton Manning, 492 yards against Florida. You were right. But Tyler Bray against Troy in 2012 had 530.
That doesn't count.
Exactly.
Listen, I like Tyler Bray. It's not because of Tyler, but that doesn't count.
So, 1997 at Kentucky, he had 523, a Peyton Manning Tim Couch duel.
That one. Yeah, good that was the day that Tennessee tried to win him the Heisman, and but some people and some other television networks decided that some dual threat guy in Michigan needed to win the Heisman.
We're not hurt. We're not hurt at all.
No. Nobody remembers that moment. No, none of that. That was a 12:30 JP game that did not get a lot of TV exposure for Peyton Manning when he threw for a bunch of yards.
Unbelievable.
What a time.
Brent Hubbs joined us this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Check him out at VolQuest. James Pierce this season, 3 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 0.5 sacks, Brent. At what point do we maybe see him be the guy that we thought he would be, or is this just the product of the type of guys they have on the line with him and the depth?
Well, I think it's a little bit. I mean, he played a bunch of snaps against Oklahoma. I think it's a little bit of what teams are doing to him, and I think he's playing hard. He's doing some effective things. He's been close. He just has overrun a couple, sacks a couple of times, and he's just missed a couple of opportunities there. I think he's probably pressing a little bit. And I think it's one of those things. It's a little bit like a turnover, Kayla. I mean, when you get one, sometimes they come in bunches.
Yep.
If you look at James's history as a sack guy, he's got a lot of games where he's got 2 sacks, sack and a half. I mean, he's kind of a multiple guy. Like when he gets going, he gets a little run on him, and everybody just kind of waiting on that run. Like, man, boy, if he could get one early, it might turn into a multiple sack day, because that's just kind of what his nature has been since he's been at Tennessee. So I think he's close. I think he's doing good things. I think he's probably pressing a little bit, right? I mean, it's the, hey, you're going to be this, first round pick or top 10 pick. Now some people are saying he's dropping in the draft, and some of that stuff is riding on you. I mean, it gets to you mentally. So maybe the open date was good for him to catch his breath a little bit, refine his toolbox, hone in on a couple of things. We'll see if he can get going Saturday night. Now, it's going to be hard to get going Saturday night against Taylon Green, because that guy runs around everywhere. I mean, he loves to play backyard football. So you're going to really have to be disciplined in rush lanes, and you can't guess. And I think James has to be careful not to guess or freelance. He's got to play within the confines of what he's asked to do schematically and let them come to him. More than he has, in the past. I think the other thing, too, with James is Tennessee's getting good push in the middle. They're not getting a ton of free runs in the middle to really move the quarterback into James. And you go back and look last year, Tyler Barron had a nice year for Tennessee. There were several sacks James got because Tyler Barron got the quarterback really moving hard to James's side. And James capitalized on some of that. I'm not saying all of them were that way, but there were a couple of times he picked up 3 sacks because of inside pressure, forcing the quarterback kind of into James's lap a little bit. Tennessee's got to get a little. I mean, they're getting really good push against the run. They're playing the run well. I'd like to see them get a little bit more inside push in the pass rushing game. I mean, we saw Omar Norman-Lott do that at NC State. Would like to see that a little more consistently.
Brent, when it comes to finding fits in the transfer portal, it seems that Josh Heupel and his staff are doing that better than anyone at this point. And, we talk about Jermod McCoy and coming from Oregon State and really fitting in nicely here. You can list some other guys, obviously, but what's maybe the difference with what Heupel and his staff are doing with looking at transfers and how they fit opposed to some others that we've seen the fit's not been so great?
That's a great question, and I don't know that I've got a great answer to it other than I think they have gone out and found some guys who really love football that were in the portal for more of the right reasons, not just the financial reasons. I think Tennessee's done a good job in their recruiting office with all their scouting people of gathering as much information on guys as you can, not just looking at their film, but what kind of guys are these guys and would they be a fit here and that type of thing. And then I think the other thing, too, is I think because Tennessee is not a transient program, and what I mean by that is they have a good number of transfers, but they're not as transfer heavy as some other places. Because you have some stability, I think the culture in your program is strong. And so when guys come in, they have to adapt to your culture. They can't bring any of their culture. It's not it's not like you got 15 guys doing it their way. If you're one of the 5 or 6, 7 transfers that come in and you come into the offensive line room, you're going to do it the way Cooper Mays and Javonte Spraggins and those guys do it. Okay? If you come into the receiver room, you're going to do it the way it's been done the last 3 years with Brew McCoy and those guys there. So I think the strength of the program and its culture and the strength of its culture makes it to where if you come in, you've got to adapt to it. It's this way or it doesn't work. And I think that's helped some of that transition for some of those guys as well. Tennessee has done as good of a job really in all the major sports when you look at it. Baseball, basketball, football. They've done as good a job as anybody in the country in roster management. Keeping the right guys, letting guys go, that it's okay, it's not the end of the world if they leave, and bringing in better guys. Their roster management has been elite compared to a lot of other people around the country. And as a result, Tennessee's as successful right now in athletics as we've seen them be in a long time.
Great stuff as always from VolQuest's Brent Hubbs joining us Friday mornings here on the show. Tennessee and Arkansas, of course, tomorrow night here in the Zone, courtesy of the Vol Network. Brent, thank you as always, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Hey,
Have a great weekend.
Hubbs.
All right. Yo.
By the way, next Friday by this time, our good friend from West Tennessee, Glorilla, will be releasing a new album.
My goodness.
I'll keep you updated on the hot tracks on that one.
All right. So what you're telling me is I probably won't get to talk to you next Friday because you'll be in great anticipation for this and you'll need the day.
Yes, so I can brief you on what tracks to listen to. Yes, I got you, Hubbs. Just know that.
Hey, listen, all I know is this morning the walk-up music for me was spot on this morning. So well done. Whoever dropped the Toby Keith on me this morning, well done. I like that one. That was a great tune.
I did think of you, by the way, too, with College Game Day going to Cal and your very public criticism of Robert Walsh's pick of best college football traditions being at Cal.
All I want to know is, what do we think Nick Saban thinks of Robert Walsh's traditions as he flies to Cal? At what point does he look around going, what in the world are we doing this show out here for?
Just long as Miss Terry can go shopping, that's all.
Hey, here's the other thing, too. When they bring out onto the set, in the South, they bring out all the big ribs and the barbecue and the tomahawk steaks. What is he going to look like when they set that tofu sandwich down in front of him?
That sushi roll.
Sushi's okay, but not tofu.
I mean, literally, when I went through the media line, and listen, I'm not complaining. I am, but I'm not complaining. when I went through the line, and they said, "Do you want the organic wrap or the tofu sandwich?"
Oh no.
I mean that was the pregame meal, man.
Take me home.
Man.
There wasn't a carb to be found.
You need some
Not real
nourishment.
protein in sight. Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
That's good stuff.
Amazing. Thank you, Brent. Appreciate
Thanks, Hubs.
Have a great one. See you guys.
Thanks, Brent.
it. Brent Hubs.
He wasn't gaining weight on that trip.
No, he wasn't.
No
It's
way.
my favorite segment of the week with respect to all of our guests that we
Set the bar, Savage.
That's right.